guys, my name's Amber. I'm a junior at the University of Kentucky. I play clarinet. And right now we're going to be looking at the lyrical excerpt for your audition music. And the first thing I want to talk about before we even play a single note is breathing. And the reason why this is really important for this excerpt in particular is because it's lyrical and we want to sound really pretty. And so to do that, we have to have the right kind of breath. So if you'll do this with me, pretend for a second that you have a paper airplane. You're holding it in your hand. We're going to pretend to throw it, and with our air, we're going to try to keep it floating along. Ready? Did you feel that? It's not a very big breath, it's a little breath, because it's just a little paper airplane, right? But let's imagine for a second that we have a big bow and arrow. We're about to shoot a bow and arrow. We need a lot of air for that, so it'll look like this. You hear those breaths? They're really big and strong. That is not the kind of breath we need, not for this piece. So the reason we did the paper airplane first is because that's the kind of breath we want. The very small breath. And you'll hear the difference. If I use the big bow and arrow breath, it'll sound like this. It's really loud and it sounds kind of nice, but it doesn't sound pretty. If I use the paper airplane breath, it'll sound something like this. Really light and supported. So when we're playing this excerpt in particular, we don't need to think more air, lots of air is good. More air can be a little harmful to our pretty sound, and that's what we're going for. We're going for a really pretty sound. So I'm going to play through this top line, and then we'll talk about dynamics. So notice, there are these markings on the page, and they're really important and we want to do what they say. But you have a little bit of freedom to keep it going past the marking. So for instance, in measure 1, when we have this descending line, instead of following the line and actually decrescendoing already, we can crescendo through that or keep a full volume through it. I wouldn't start the decrescendo until the E. That's when I would start pulling back. You also, if you notice, I'm kind of slowing down just a little bit. You do have freedom when you play lyrical excerpts, most of the time, to play with the tempo a little bit because it is pretty and it's supposed to feel the way that you want it to as the performer. Looking at the next line, what's really important here is from measures 5 and 6, so we have 2 crescendos in a row. We don't want to overdo it. That's my first piece of advice. If you give all you've got in measure 5, where do you have to go in measure 6? So this is how I would play it. I'm using that. I'm landing on the C sharp. And I'm using that C sharp to push me even further so I can go all the way up to the B with my full sound. And this is where you can start putting in a little bit of that big breath. It'll help you here because to crescendo through 2 measures and it to be a big crescendo, we're going to need a lot of air to push through that, especially if you want to sound really nice on that B natural. It's going to take a lot of support. So that pickup with the A, that breath is going to be really important. We can't be breathing like that. Breath was so shallow. It wasn't there. It's not going to get me through 2 measures. No way, no how. So take a little time. The judges aren't going to care. You can take a big breath to get you all the way through. And after that, just follow the line down, decrescendo, and you'll be great. So let's play it.